welcome to Highcat's Leadership 360. This is where we discuss all things leadership and personal development. We're going together on the Highcat community on Facebook and also on Daniel Poby's channel on YouTube. And it's my joy and privilege to welcome you to this episode. If this is your first time watching our video, please click on the subscribe button and join our community. Also click on the bell button so you receive notification whenever we upload our sessions, and then you can connect with us. And we've been looking at certain mentalities and mindsets that sometimes stand in our way and prevent us from moving forward and getting to the place where we're supposed to be. And in this episode, we are looking at the consumer and materialistic mentality. Consumer and materialistic mentality. Now, these are two different mentalities, but we have put them together so we can have a good discussion of them together. At least if you put them together, it makes a bit more sense. And let me begin, as always, with two quotes. The first one is by Will Rogers. Will Rogers says that too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. Too many people do this. And if you are one of those, you are admonished and encouraged. Please drop that mentality, drop that attitude so you can make progress in your life. The second quotation is by Alexander Smith. Alexander Smith says that a man doesn't plant a tree for himself, he plants it for posterity. He plants it for posterity. And on this note, I welcome you to this episode on consumer and materialistic mentality. Now, in the previous episode, we looked at the concept of mindset, of mentality, and we said that it has to do with some beliefs that anyone has that affects your attitude, that it affects your behavior. So certain mental blocks that you have built for yourself, and that determines the kind of behavior and the kind of attitude that you exhibit. And then we talked about the fact that some of these mentalities or mindsets are toxic and they can stand in our way, prevent us from making progress. They can ruin our lives and affect us. And then we looked at the nomadic mentality as one of those mentalities that Emmanuel Elumedi posited. He said there are five of them. And then the previous episode, we looked at just one, the nomadic mentality. In this episode, we are looking at two. So if you didn't watch that particular episode, I encourage you to go and check it out on this very channel. The title is Delete the Toxic Mentalities. Delete the toxic mentalities. One of the people that watched the clip, that watched the video, sent this feedback, and it so touched me. And the person said it could also be the person was talking about the nomadic mentality and said that it could also be the shiny object syndrome at play, getting attracted to new projects and abandoning old ones. In the end, nothing gets finished. In the end, nothing gets finished. And I like that feedback that came from one of the people, that you want to go check that video out, delete the toxic mentalities, and also address yourself with these concepts that we discussed in there. In this episode, what is consumer mentality, materialistic mentality? Now, it's about owning and constantly consuming the latest and the greatest. So it comes from the idea that we as human beings have this tendency to want the latest, we want the newest, we want the largest. If it's not, then we lose interest. And so people play on that part of our psychology and come out with new versions and new versions and new versions, because we always want the newest, we want the latest, we want the largest, we want the biggest, we want the greatest. And because of that pursuit, we begin to consume things. So it is that which triggers that vicious cycle of constantly spending money to fulfill that consumption desire or those consumption desires. So there is a certain desire you want, and there is a cycle that has been created in your life that any money that comes into your hands, any resource that comes into your hand, you want to expend it to get one or the other gadget or other thing, that other material, just to satisfy a certain hunger inside you that wants to consume. In my sociology class at the University of Ghana, one Prof. Abochi gave it the name. We have, I think it's Prof. Abochi who taught us, but he was referring to what Simming had said. It says that we have this conspicuous consumption, especially in our part of the world. We want to conspicuously consume. So your only interest, if you have this mentality, your only interest is to consume, and you forget the notion that you should also be producing something. You just consume, and there's no restriction on your spending. You have that zero thought about where to put your money, except these areas of your bills and your expenses, and buying assets and buying things that has temporary satisfaction for you. And it's just about consuming. And it's not only gadgets and materials, in our world today, even the media, we consume, we just scroll through the headlines, and we don't even take time to read. We are in a hurry, and you can see everything. We just want to take a bit here, take a bit here, and we are just taking things and consuming things because they are available. Even in church, we find there's deficiency showing, where you find that people begin to decide which church they want to attend. They decide which community they want to belong to. They are looking for the church that has the biggest structure or the most beautiful edifice. Some people move from one place to a very far place because of the building that they want to worship in. And people are looking for, oh, what is the kind of choir that they have? What kind of instruments do they have? What kind of setting do they have for their children's service? What kind of music ministry do they have? And what kind of pastor is there? And who teaches and who preaches? And people are looking and looking and looking. One time, someone came to our church, and as the person was being introduced, the person made a statement that really hit me. When the person was asked whether have you come to join us, or you are visiting, the person says, well, I'm just trying to see how this church is. I've been to this other church, and I've been to this other church, and I've come here and comparing with the previous church where I was attending. You're not doing very bad at all. The choir is good, and I'm considering maybe I will stay. Can you imagine the kind of description right there in front of the entire church? This person is just telling all of us, I'm assessing the church, and it's going to determine whether I'm going to stay or I'm going to move to another church, because I've tested here, and so far it looks like you guys are closer to where I'm coming from. And these things play out. So people come in, and even to join a church, they are asking, what is in it for me? What am I going to get? And the list goes on, and people choose even the church or where they belong to, the work that they do, and those they associate with. They choose those things based on the perks that will come to them. What is in it, and what benefits am I going to get? And these things manifest. So besides just wanting to fill the void of becoming bored with these possessions, because you get one, and in no long distance of time, you get bored with that one, and you want to go for another one. Apart from that effect that we have, one other manifestation, or some other manifestation, is that we want to keep with the Joneses. We don't want to be left behind. We want to be in vogue. What everyone else is doing, we want to be found to be doing that as well. We are part of the movement. We are also trending with those who are trending, and we are also part of the Joneses. We just want to keep up with the Joneses. Another thing that we find is that people want to fulfill instant gratification. I want it, and I want it now, and I need it now. And if I don't get this, I can't live. I was sharing with some friends recently that in my own life, I've observed that sometimes when we need something, and it happened to me, I was making reference that this thing, I bought it. I thought I really needed it. After buying it, I noticed that I'm not even using it as much as I thought I needed it. But before I got it, I thought I can't live without this. I can't do without it. And I need it and I need it and I go get it. And because of that push and that drive, that consumer mentality makes you want to get it and you want to get it now. There is also the need to impress others with all the things that I have, showing off. And we want to show ourselves branded in a certain kind of attire, a certain, and sometimes we don't even have the means. And we're talking in terms of wealth creation and how these things stand in our way and prevent you from inching closer to where you want to get to. You want to show off and you want to let people see what you have and conspicuous consumption. You want people to see that you have the latest gadget, you have the latest model, you have the latest type that has just come, and people don't mind buying the same cloth, different colors, and it's, they're just showing off. And then there is the effect of getting addicted to spending and shopping. You just get addicted to spending and to shopping. This is not to say that you should not consume. That is not it. This is not to say that you don't need to create wealth to buy what you need. No, that's not what I'm saying, because I know that buying and selling and shopping, all these things move businesses. So that is not what I'm saying. And don't get me wrong. Don't put. But I'm talking about the fact that some people have that mentality of always consuming, always spending, always shopping, and it's a certain void that has been created. Pastor Mensa Otabe was sharing that his childhood dream was to buy a tin of milk and just close his eyes and pour the whole of the tin of milk into Gary soaking. If you have that kind of mentality and you grow and you are not careful, you are satisfying a certain childhood dream, even in your adult life, and you may not be aware of it. So, this is calling for you to check whether there are these signs and these traits in my life that is showing that I have that mentality of wanting to consume. So, if your only reason for wanting to be rich and wanting to create wealth for yourself, if the only reason and motivation is so that you have money available to buy the things that you need, all the material possessions that you need, and get all the comfort and all the luxury that you and your family will need, then your mindset is wrong. I'm saying then your mentality is wrong. Because by the time you are thinking so, you're not thinking posterity. You're not thinking about making impact. You're not thinking about giving back to your community. You're not thinking about what you also can produce that others can consume. You're not thinking about what to give back to the society or to the nation or the community that you belong to. So instead of thinking posterity, you're just thinking prosperity and consumption and just consuming and consuming. So just a few suggestions to help for you to, re-strategize and refocus your life. The first one that I want to talk about is that, look, you need to prioritize your well-being. And COVID has taught us. When COVID came, we realized that so many other things that we thought we could do without, we can actually do that we thought we could not do without. We actually saw that we can do without them. You saw it. So prioritize your well-being. Your well-being is very important. What are your values? What are your priorities in this life? That is one thing you need to begin to look at. Number two, focus on those smaller, important things in life. There are some things that you may not be giving attention to, but see, they really matter to you. And you want to check these things. You want to find that connection with people and those that you care about, those that you love. You want to get that connection established and really sustained, and how you can live your life on a daily basis rather than this status led and career led or career powered basis that push for things and just want to consume things. Number three, tighten your wallet. Tighten your wallet. Be more selective of your choices, the things that you do, the things that you buy, and what brands you need to tighten your belt, your wallet, and be selective of your choices. Tighten your wallet means that you are going to be selective of the things that you buy, and that you are going to simplify your daily life so you are in control of how you spend. There is a certain restriction on what you spend your money's on. And to conclude, let me say that, see, the opposite of this consumer materialistic mentality will be a producer and growth mindset. You need that mentality that wants to produce and wants to give back. Instead of consuming stuff, you make stuff, you grow stuff, you produce something so others can also consume what it is that you also are producing. You produce, I consume, I produce, you consume, and it's symbiotic. We support each other to survive. That is how the world is supposed to go. But if you want to forget about your consumption part, then there is a problem. Our goods and services should contribute, what we also produce should contribute to the growth and well-being of others around us, in the same way that others' goods and services also help us. Let me count it up with James chapter 4 and verse 1 to verse 3. He says that from whence comes wars and fightings among you? Don't they come from even your lust, the lust that war in your members? Verse 2 says, you lust and have not. You kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. You fight and war and you have not because you ask not. And verse 3 says, you ask and receive not because you ask amiss. You ask amiss, that you may consume it on your lusts, that you may consume it on what you want and the possessions that you want to have. So you ask amiss. My dear friend, you want to check this. And in the next episode, we'll be looking at entitlement mentality. Entitlement mentality. Share this video with somebody, leave a comment, and let me know how this has impacted you, what you think about it. What are your thoughts about what I have just shared? And invite your friends also, share with your friends, let them also get a feel of what we are learning together. Until we meet again in the next episode, on behalf of HiCAD community and HiCAD team, thank you very much for making time to be with us, and we wish you the very best in your life. Take care. Bye bye.